Hi, Marms here. This is the GameSir G7 Pro Wu Chang Fallen Feathers Edition. No other controller around the Marbs Man channel has generated as much interest as this controller. Now, I've never reviewed a GameSir controller, and I paid for this one out of my own hard-earned money, and it is a very interesting offering. Now, why are people so excited about this controller? Well, first of all, it is a wireless version of the GameSir G7 Pro, which has been offered as a wired controller on Xbox for quite some time. Now, this is a wireless version. It uses a wireless dongle to connect to your Xbox. Now, what makes this controller, I think, even more interesting, perhaps, is the fact that it comes in at around a $99 price point. Yes, a $99 price point. Now, why is that interesting? Well, that's interesting because the 8-bit Do controller is priced slightly less than that, and this new Wu Chang Fallen Feathers edition has MagRes TMR sticks. That, my friends, makes this controller an interesting subject. And the MagRes TMR sticks are part of the reason I think so many of you are interested in this controller at this price point. And I think the other reason is that it offers a variety of both, I would call it, a mix of pro features and a mix of standard features in a more affordable package. So let's get into it and see what the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers G7 Wireless Pro is all about.
So let's get into the unboxing of the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers GameSir G7 Pro Wireless. Now, first of all, it comes in a standard box here. It's packed well. It does have a slip sleeve box. So they basically use the same box. This is a different slip sleeve for the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers Xbox Edition, as you see here, and it is Xbox approved. Once we get inside the box, we have a very interesting selection of parts here. We have the controller. And one thing that's interesting about the controller faceplate is that it is a three-piece faceplate that is removable. And you can remove the faceplate and change it if you wanted to, if GameSir ever offers any other additional faceplates that are compatible with this controller. It has black stick tops with chrome shafts and black bases. It uses more of a convex stick top. It is not really concave. I prefer more of a concave shape myself. The sides of the controller have kind of a feathering texture in the plastic. The seaming is good, and they don't feel like the seams are there, which I think is excellent. It has a gold micro-switched D-pad and graphic A, B, X, and Y buttons to match the Wukong Fallen Feathers theme. The back is blue. It has rubber grips on the side, and it has two back paddles, I guess you would call them buttons, hair triggers, as you can see here. And then on the top of the controller, we have the head rail, and those are blue with blue bumpers, blue triggers. Now, those are Hall Effect triggers, I might add. And the Hall Effect triggers are also right there next to it are the, I guess you would call them claw buttons. But the interesting thing is the position of these claw buttons, you can touch very easily with your fingertips and activate them. But it does not have four paddles on the back. Instead, it has these two buttons on the head rail. It has a charging base that is magnetic. You can plug your dongle into the bottom of the charging base and your USB-C cable into the back of the charging base and plug it directly in your Xbox as pass-through to access your wireless dongle. The controller does come with two different D-pads, what I would call a circle hybrid and a cross D-pad. I don't really like the fact that there isn't much stippling on the D-pad. That is kind of one of the things that I don't like very well about these D-pads. It does have a very nice dongle, and it connects extremely fast with the controller when the controller is turned on. So that's something that I would definitely call your attention to. It comes with a thick, heavy braided USB-C cable, and one of the things interesting about this USB-C cable is that the end that plugs into the controller has a strain relief at the top of this to make sure that when it is plugged into your controller, it doesn't actually pop out by accident. Overall, it is an interesting idea, and it can be removed if you're not going to use it. I would say a lot of people that use the controller aren't going to really use the wired cable for that purpose. However, the battery only supplies about 8.5 hours of charge time, which is about the best I could get out of the controller. So that is definitely something to keep in mind for sure. The controller uses the Nexus Gamer software to configure the controller. Now, the Nexus software is available for Windows, and the footage that you see here is for the Xbox version of the software. Now, the Xbox version of the software allows you to manage all 4 profiles for the controller. I would say that the software is very intuitive and it works quite well, and it is pretty easy to understand what the configuration is of the controller and where it is stored. Now, one of the things that I will tell you, though, about the Windows version of the software, I had a lot of problems trying to get this to update. And when I tried to update the firmware using the Windows version, I was never able to successfully complete that. I wound up having to plug it into the PC version to get the firmware updated. But no matter, the TMR sticks that are included here are dead on. I found no problems with the calibration, and you can do some curve adjustments to adjust the, response curve of the sticks, which I think is really nice. And with these TMR sticks, it may be something that you might want to do. But the software works well. I just don't understand why the Xbox version would not update the firmware.
So there you have it. That is the G7 Pro wireless from GameSir, the Wu Chang Fallen Feathers edition. Gotta say, it's an impressive package that offers good value with pro features, but there are a few trade-offs. For example, it doesn't have a case, but do you really use the case to play? So I don't know that that's really a disadvantage. It's just one of those things. Now, I didn't have any problem with the D-pad. And I've heard people complain about the D-pad in this. The microswitch D-pad worked fine for me. I didn't have any issues with it. But if I did say that anything was weak on the controller, I don't know that I like the grip on the D-pad. And it could do with a little bit more stippling on the D-pad. Some texture just to give you a little bit more for your finger to work with on that. Now, I got to mention the claw buttons again. Now, what's interesting about these is the fact that when you use them, if your fingers are on the bumper, you can slightly put your tips of your fingers right on these claw buttons, and they work really well. I gotta say, I am surprised. It did not really occur to me, not being a claw button user, that if you moved them a little bit from the center to more to under the bumper, they could work a lot better. So the disadvantage of it not having 4 paddles, but having these claw buttons, I don't know, these claw buttons may not even be the right word for these. I do think that they're an interesting option, and they may suit some players better. Overall, I gotta say, I would recommend the controller if you like the features, and those are the features that are important to you. It does have TMR sticks, though, and that means probably the last controller you're going to buy, and you're not going to get any stick drift. I will say that the connectivity is very good. Didn't have any problems with that. It connects very fast when turning it on, which is kind of odd compared to some other controllers that I've used. But overall, yeah, I would recommend it to buy. If this is the feature set you want, this is a good controller. My name is Marbs. Now, what do you think of the G7 Pro Wireless? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you could hit that subscribe button for me and maybe give the video a thumbs up because you liked it, that would be really great. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.